Hi all, Ross here, Thomas Classic Modern. Welcome back to another video, as promised, sort of following on from our oil pressure build video that we put out the other day. We are now going to run through how we go about firing up one of our fresh builds for the very first time. A brief outline: we initially start them up with no coolant in, regardless of whether or not that's in our test bed or installed in the car. We'll fire it up to get some initial timing settings during that first startup, and then what we will do is we will run it up for just a few minutes until the cylinder head is warmed a touch at cylinder number 4, at which time then we'll shut it down, allow it to cool overnight, and then the following day we will then reset the tappets, retorque the cylinder head, fill it with coolant, and then we will go with the full 20-minute cam braking procedure. But we will do the very first startup, setting of the initial timing and warming it up so that cylinder 4 is hot to touch. So we'll press on with that now. Okay, so just a very quick overview of what we've got here set up before we start. Engine is now in our test bed, as said, no coolant. Still got the oil pressure gauge rigged up, ready to go. We'll monitor that obviously during the setup. We're currently all connected up to a slave battery. Timing light is there, ready to go. And our Innovate is set up there, ready to go to monitor the mixture as well during first startup. So that's basically what it looks like, all rigged up in the test bed. Great bit of kit this is, rigged up as you can see with a clutch slave, gear selector mechanism so we can check all the gears, etc. And just a single box exhaust system with our Innovate clamp ready to monitor the mixture. So that's basically the setup. What I'll do now is I'll pop you guys somewhere out of the way so I can use both hands, and we'll get on with trying to fire this thing up. Okay, so the engine is now all rigged up in the test bed, as we said. We're ready to give it a whirl and see what happens, I guess. Okay. Ignition on. That doesn't normally happen. Too much oil. This is the one downfall of me using lots of oil during my builds. Okay, so we've just pulled the plugs out. As I suspected, they were caked in oil. Usual thing for me when I build them. As I said yesterday, I use plenty of oil. So we'll just, as they say, go for take 2. So back into the second day now of this fresh GT engine startup. We have now retorqued the head, run through the tappets. We've now filled it with coolant, so she's all ready to fire up and run for her first full 20 minutes. We sometimes do that in 2 stints of 10 minutes, depends on sort of how things are going, etc., temperatures and so on and so forth. It's also imperative to make sure that any adjustments that you need to make, you make them without allowing the engine to come back down to idle. It is very important that the engine does not idle from fresh. We normally aim for 2000 RPM as a start point. Run it then for either 2 stints of 10 minutes or, as I say, 1 full run of 20 minutes at no less than 2000 RPM. Monitoring temperatures, oil pressures, for leaks, etc., as you go along. You will normally find that when we start this up from fresh, it will be running as weak as a kitten. It'll probably struggle to run, and then we'll gradually tweak the mixture, and we set it normally around about 1 lambda, which is still very, very weak. However, we like that on the basis of its running in period. First 20 minutes, the last thing you want to do is be throwing fuel in there. A rich mixture in this instance is absolutely a no-go. So what we'll do now is I'll pop the camera on the tripod and I'll try and get you somewhere near so you can see what I'm doing. So that's the first 10 minutes under its belt. Everything seems to be okay, no leaks, temperatures are holding well, mixture etc. is all good. So we'll leave it go for another 10 minutes. I think in this instance everything appears to be a-okay so far. The full 20 minutes done. We'll start to decrease the speed and engine speed now. Watch what the mixture's doing. Bring it back down to a relatively sensible idle. Just set the idle mixture as close as we can, and then that should be it. She can be shut down and cooled down. Okay, so there we go. That's the full 20 minutes breaking in. When it's all good to go, we now have a nice, a very weak idle mixture, which is ideal for us. We know that this motor will leave us. Customer can literally turn the key, it'll start, it'll run, it'll fire. We know he's not going to do any damage at all to it. whilst that sort of initial fire up period is done. We will now break this down out of the engine stand. We'll drain the oil out of it, drain the coolant out of it. We'll supply the customer with a fresh gallon of engine oil and a filter, and this one is ready for him to install and ready to go. But if you are interested in any of our engine builds, again, please contact us. You can reach us via all the social media sites. We are particularly active on Facebook, and as you can tell from this, we're trying to do a little bit more now on YouTube as well. Our next one will probably entail an engine build. We're going to run through a short motor that we're building for a customer in the United States. So look out for that one, and we'll see you soon.